My father, my memories. Today is my father's birthday. He would have been 77 years old. He passed away in 2009. I honor and remember him today. I miss his humor and wisdom, the way he made me laugh, the way he wanted to keep everyone around him laughing. I had a dream about him the other night. I don't remember what it was about, but I remember water. A lot of water. I have had many dreams about him since he passed. This is not a sad day for me. I don't think of him and get sad. I think of him walking me to the corner store near our house in Long Beach when I was a little girl. We got a red kite. Red has been my favorite color for a long time. We walked home and he taught me how to fly it. That was the only time I remember flying a kite. I think about the day he called himself teaching me how to fight. He told me that since I wasn't a fighter, I needed to keep punching and not stop until somebody showed up to help. And I was a grown woman when we had that conversation. I think about how close we were. I think about him sending me, a child, to the corner store with a note from him for me to give to the cashier that said for the cashier to give me a pound of hog head cheese and zigzags. When I think of him, I remember when I was a child and I would ask for a quarter and he would reach in his pocket and give me everything in his fist. I have so many memories. When his mother died, he couldn't bring himself to go to the funeral. He just couldn't see his mother like that. And I understood. I remember when I was dating the Nigerian, I took him up to Little Rock to meet my dad and other family members. And my aunt asked me, "What's his name again?" My dad turned to her right in front of then boyfriend and me and said, "What difference does it make? We ain't gonna ever see him again." I didn't stick with boyfriends too long back then. I remember introducing him to another boyfriend and he said, "I just want you to know that I love my daughter so much. Like if me and you and her was all on a boat and the boat tipped over and you and her fell off, well, I'm telling you right now, don't you waste none of your breaths in your body asking me for help because I'm going to save my daughter." I have a million stories about my father. Some of them are not so happy, but many of them bring me joy, so I think of those. I thank him for loving me. We had so many conversations that many might not understand, but I understood. There were ways our relationship was complicated. Alcohol got in the way sometimes. Often, in fact. My mother and aunt told me stories about him before the drinking, before Vietnam, when he started drinking. But I didn't know that man. Still, I cherish the memory of the man I knew. It could not have been easy for him, a young man, overseas fighting in a war so heavily protested. His job there was to gather dead bodies, bodies of some men he knew, and that would split as he held them. Imagine those ghosts. I miss our talks. Drunk or not, he was, hands down, the funniest man who ever lived. Fight me. And he was wise, and he would kill for me. And that complicated our relationship also, because I knew he would, in fact, kill for me. Once, he told me that he wanted me to always know that I could tell him anything, no matter how shameful. I could come to him. He said, if I told him that I had sex with 19 men in one night, but I had only chosen to be with 18 of them, and I told the last man no, then he wouldn't like it, but he wouldn't judge me. And that I should know that for sure he was going after that 19th motherfucker. You had to be there. You had to know him. He called me while I was living in McDonough, the first time I lived in Georgia. He asked me if I was dating anyone. I told him no. He said, "Damn, it was somebody cute at the store just now. I could go back down there and see if he's still there if you want me to." And we had a good laugh. Our last conversation, while I was still living in McDonough, he called me early one morning. "Verily, verily, I say unto you." He started conversations like that because he said that he and Jesus had to have some way of letting their listeners know when they were being serious. He started his story. He was drunk. You know, the shark got a bad rap, and I'm going to tell you why. You will never be walking down a dark alley and a shark start chasing you. Shark just ain't never gonna break into your home. Only way a shark gets you is if you go to the ocean. So the trick to life is to know your ocean. If you're a crackhead, you can't live by the crack house because that's your ocean. If you shop too much, you can't live by the mall because that's your ocean. Only way a shark gets you is if you go to the ocean. And if you get eaten, it ain't the shark's fault because the shark just thinks you're food. You had to hear him tell the story yourself. He was ready to go, though. He was ready. After his first heart attack, I found out from my aunt. He said his army buddies would have too big a laugh if he called home about some little bitty old heart attack. He didn't survive the next one, though. But he is somewhere, schooling lesser comedians. I loved him and still do. I could write a book on his stories alone.